Hi, Chris Duff over at Serious Land Capital, vacant land funding partner. Today, a little bit more current events, just thinking about reputation risk specifically. So I know I've remarked on this before in the podcast and elsewhere of just how much we go out of our way to our reputation and especially from a funder side, just it's the kind of the foundation of our business is interacting with other businesses and forming partnerships. So it's just even more important. But to get more to the point here, why this was more on my mind today is just one of the or a YouTube personality that I've been following for probably close to a half decade at this point, was one of the larger, if not largest, YouTubers associated with fantasy and science fiction books. Really entertaining individual. For leisure time for me, it's a hard avenue to beat. Than just being able to dive into some of my favorite fiction series ever since even being a kid and getting older. That's never really changed. And it's a true joy to my life. So I was following this individual. His name was Daniel Green. I mean, some of you may be familiar with him. You can Google if interested. But he had like a 500,000 some odd subscribers built over years to his YouTube. Was on personal involvement with like some of the biggest writers in the fantasy and sci-fi industries. Brandon Sanderson and so forth. To name probably the most prominent individual. And there was revelation earlier this week where another individual, it's a young woman, I think she's or she utilizes a they pronoun. Forgive me if I slip up in regard to that for people's preferences, but came out with extensive video detailing a sexual assault episode that basically accusing Daniel of being complicit against her. Sorry, I'm just losing my words here for a moment. But extremely graphic details. Has a lot of receipts. Like, was well researched. And again, if you have any interest or care to look into that, I mean, you can make your own judgments. But each of these situations, I think, require their own individual review here. To me, I thought the evidence was pretty overwhelmingly against Daniel in this case. And you could see just his community and former business partners and so forth, all just, distancing themselves from him pretty quickly. He came back with a short statement saying he needs to put some items in order and try to and claiming all the allegations were false. So we'll see what happens there. To me, it would be hard pressed to combat the info that was provided so far. But not getting too much into the details there. To me, this was just another example of just showing kind of that Warren Buffett quote of it takes years, decades, what have you, to build a reputation in a day, to destroy it sometimes less than a day. And I'm constantly thinking about that routinely in our business here, and why every single day, you can't manage every single interaction. The bigger you grow, the more team members and contractors and so forth you have that might be acting on behalf of your brand and so forth. So it's impossible to manage everything. But anytime there might be a hint this was not handled quite like I would have preferred, that I want to jump on top of that and try to repair what damage there may have been. And I don't think we've had any major episodes that are particularly damaging, but some nits and picks here, like this could have been better client service and so forth. Not anything that's gonna get us canceled or pushed out of the industry, but it just, to me, it's kind of like that broken window metaphor of, yeah, you gotta clean that up within your neighborhood to prevent those bigger issues from potentially arising. And no matter how big you are, like if you're kind of the face of the company, like ultimately that's going to fall on you, that you're accountable for how your business is perceived. So I always take extra time to really check in and make sure, all right, yeah, are we handling all of our public facing avenues of the business, and even non-public, non-public facing is probably even more important, because that's when we're dealing with individual clients. Are people getting paid as soon as we get money in, and sorting out the waterfalls and making sure all profits and so forth are accurate. That's what people care most about when they look to work with us. So obviously that rises right to the top there, and providing a solid, more than solid. We try to be exceptional with our client experience working with us. So that to me is what again we guard as carefully as possible. And I know I've remarked before, there's definitely bad actors within the industry, any industry really, and a lot of inside stories. Again, the industry's not that big, so you kind of mess up once, you can really set yourself back from continued success, or at least make it a lot harder for yourself if you burn some bridges, because word gets around quicker than you might think. And I know several examples of what I would consider to be pretty nefarious behavior. And some of the consequences have been more or less severe than they probably should have been. Usually less severe, in my opinion, but it's also because, again, we're probably more well connected than the average land investor, and so a lot of people operate within their own silo and maybe not as exposed to ongoing potential issues that happen in more isolated incidents. So that's just a little bit of inside baseball there from what we see, and why I'm so careful about guarding what we're up to. And again, seeing just another example of someone who really got to the top of his own industry in this book YouTube sphere, and just maybe he can come back. I don't know. I would just doubt it. Published his own books and all that type of stuff. It's a really nasty situation. And I know, again, all the cancel culture, et cetera, like, have your own views on it, make your own opinions. That's not for me to decide how everybody wants to think. But in this case, I thought this is not a good look, and be really, really hard to recover from, if possible at all. And I just couldn't imagine a worse situation to be in, where everything's falling apart around you, personally and professionally. And how do you even try to pick up pieces? It's just seeing other people make those mistakes is just like another kind of firm lesson. All right, yeah, are we making sure that we're staying consistent here, and not ever running into those risks of where, everything is just gonna blow up in your face. I can't imagine the stress and anxiety of trying to deal with that, and not to mention other problems you might have left in your wake as well too. I empathize from that side, of course. So just something else to note there that was more top of mind today. Again, shock to the system. I think we all start to form some parasocial relationships with folks we pay attention to online, even though we've never met them in person. So I just can mention my own personal example there that I found pretty disappointing, certainly. But that's how it is in the world. Consequences will find their way to you based on the actions that you take, unless you're just so big that things just slide off you. Pick your examples of that. We all know there's exceptions to the rule if you accumulate enough power and resources, but not like that's really setting a good example for most of us, and most of us don't have that privilege either. Yeah, that I think is it for today. Sorry, this one was kind of a little all over the place, but worth kind of sharing. Again, I know a lot of you don't have as much kind of partnership-oriented businesses. You might, again, operating within your own silo, and if you burn some sellers or even buyers and so forth, no one might find out about it. And you can kind of keep those fires, dumpster fires, under wraps. Just think about it. The bigger you get, the more likely you're going to have other partners and so forth. So it's always a keen lesson. Again, we're all working really, really hard here to build businesses for ourselves and our family and greater community, and just always being cautious about that, potential split second error in judgment, potentially severe error in judgment that can just crumble everything around you. You want to avoid. Like Nassim Taleb says, everything is recoverable except falling into ruin. So don't go to jail. Don't ruin your reputation. Those are really the two key things. Notice he didn't say bankruptcy. You can come back from that. Jail, reputation. Those are really the two that will destroy you, or dying. Like don't take unnecessary physical health risks as well. So I'll always love that part of Taleb as well. So I will leave you with that. Check out seriousland.capital for any deals that you might want funded. Land Daily Diligence for zero cost review of your land deals. Our group's been growing tremendously. I'm not even able to get through all the deals to be reviewed that have been coming in lately. I've been really excited to see that grow. Landpricer.ai, ready to get beta testers in potentially by tomorrow. So TBD, some of you will be hearing from me very shortly. Subscribe and share if you haven't already. Take care. Bye.